Oh, Macklemore. Oh, Macklemore. It's all fun and games till you start making fun of Jewish people. Talk about that and my Cleveland Cavaliers getting the number one lottery choice again and again and one more time. Thank you for listening to the show. This is the last show podcast because this may be it. Hit it.
Yeah. Talk to me.
Welcome to the show. It's the last show podcast. Yours truly back again. Flying solo. It's like I'm flying solo all the time now. It's Courtney Shane Williams. Trying to do it more consistent. So, here's my consistency. This is once in like 2 weeks. I don't know. I really only wanted to talk about the Cavaliers, but then last night, I seen something, Macklemore, and then I seen Jewish, and I'm like, woohoo, I got to open this email. And Macklemore, apparently, now I don't know the whole story. Actually, I do know the whole story. I'm lying. I wanted to say I did know the whole story, so it didn't feel like I'm actually paying attention to Macklemore. But honestly, it was impossible, to avoid, especially living in Seattle. It was impossible. So, for y'all that are listening to this that don't live in Seattle, there's this place in Seattle. It's called the EMP Museum. It's not very important to know necessarily that it's the EMP, but that is what it is. What you need to know is that it is in Seattle. It's performing arts type venue, place, whatever you want to call it. So imagine that. And it's not the biggest venue in Seattle even to do something at. It's just a performing arts type of place, so you get different press coverage. It's not like, you go and you do, a baseball stadium or a basketball stadium. It's not like 20,000 people. It's not like that. It's sort of an intimate kind of dealy thingy. Okay? So, I don't know if you heard the story by now, but, Macklemore went on stage, basically, dressed like a Jewish guy, but not like dressed like somebody Jewish. Like if you said, oh, he's dressed like a Muslim, maybe you put on, the Muslim garb, but he would not. It wasn't like that. He was dressed as Jew, like it was like it was like a Halloween costume. He went as Jewish for Halloween, he had on a nose, a fake nose, and that's. Anytime you going somewhere, you're like, I'm going to dress up like a character, and you start putting on face paint or a nose, like you're going down the wrong path. Stop, wash your face off, and because you're going to get eviscerated. Anytime you step over that line to look so much like a race that you start putting on costumes, like that's a red flag, But Macklemore, he ran through the stop sign, Yasiel Puig style, and did a show and dressed up in Jew face, basically. It's him Jew face. That first thing I thought about was like a minstrel show. But it wasn't a minstrel show in the sense that he was making fun of Jewish people or something like that. But he's dressed like a Jewish guy, and like a minstrel, like Borat, which is okay. It's fine. First lesson. First things first. It's all fun and games until you start talking bad about Jewish people. Let me tell you something. And I'm not Jewish, so I can tell you, it's all fun and games till you start talking about Jewish people. The reason I can say that is because I've done the research. Case in point. Me and my buddy that shall remain nameless, let's just call him Daryl Lennox. We're hanging out after a comedy show, and we were talking about Riley Cooper, and he was like, oh, I'm like, man, there's no way he can come back, because all these dudes in the locker room is black. Like, how you do? He was like, he'll be fine. I'm like, you crazy? There's no way he's gonna be fine. He said he beat up every nigga there. All the niggas is in the locker room. He was like, nah, man, no, he'll be fine, man. It's all good. A good apology, and keep your head down. He'll be fine. I'm like, come on, man. I was like, if that was another race, he was like, nah. He was like, nah. If it was another race, they'd let it slide, as long as it's not a Jewish person. I was like, really? A Jew? I was like, what is it about Jewish people? He was like, no. He's like, when no one makes fun of Jewish people and gets off the hook, it just doesn't happen. And then I started examining. I thought about it. When the last time somebody made fun of a Jewish guy? Exactly. You don't do that kind of stuff. No one does that. The last person that railed on Jewish people is Mel Gibson. Still can't get his stuff together. Look, I seen Riley Cooper catching touchdowns. Look, Donald Sterling's about to get about $2 billion for his basketball team. What's your boy Don Imus, the nappy-headed hose? He has another radio show. It's like, ain't nobody out here in these streets recovering from talking about Jewish people, man. That was Macklemore's first mistake. You picked the wrong race. You know what I mean? He'd have been better off making fun of black people, honestly. It's only about, 15 black people in Seattle in the first place, so no one would have probably found out. And if it would have made national news, it'd be like, oh, they're out there in the Northwest. We don't know what they do. And they'd have chalked it up. Maybe the football team got to him. Yeah, he's made some comments about black people, do an apology tour. Play that record again where he talks about equal marriage. You know what I mean? Like Queen Latifah, she'd have flew in and, to testify on his behalf. Please, judge, don't discipline Macklemore. He's not racist. He has 4 black friends. They're the only 4 black people in Seattle. But he has 4 black friends, and everything would have been cool. But you start making fun of Jewish people, it takes it to another level. Like, you just don't do that. Honestly, that has ramifications. Like Macklemore, you probably get home, and somebody cut your electricity off. You don't even know how it happened. You don't know how it happened, but you put on the guard. That was his first mistake. Don't make fun of Jewish people. The second mistake is don't insult our intelligence. Don't insult our intelligence. Like that. That was the second mistake. Macklemore said, and I'm gonna pull up the little quote. I pull up a story from the Huffington Post, and which is credible because they steal all their material from credible locations. And this is the one. Seth Rogen got on him. Seth Rogen, at all people. If you're offending Seth Rogen, you probably need to reel it in a little bit, if you're offending him. And he tried to hit you. He tried to insult your intelligence. Seth Rogen, what did he say? His first quote is, first you trick people into thinking you're a rapper. Now you trick them into thinking you're Jewish. Which is so clever by Seth Rogen. Like, when you get that tweet, you just leave that conversation alone. Nothing you say after that is going to be better than what he wrote. Because he has tricked people into thinking he's a rapper. That's why he wrote that punk-ass text message to Kendrick Lamar after he won that Grammy. That's right, I hold grudges. Anyways, so Macklemore replies back, a fake witch nose, wig, and beard equal random costume. Not my idea of a stereotype of anybody. Seth Rogen, which is ridiculous. A fake witch nose, wig, and a beard equal random costume. Who the hell goes to a costume shop and goes witch nose, wig, and beard? Like honestly, who goes witch nose wig? You might go witch nose, hat, long hair. Or you might go, wig, and maybe, the little buckles they put on pilgrim shoes, and, overalls. Or maybe you go beard, long hair. Who goes fake witch nose, wig, and beard? Like, who goes costume shopping like that? Weird guy. Then he hits you with a not my idea of a stereotype of anybody. It's not your, okay, fine. Then Seth Rogen hits him back with that reel at Macklemore. Really? Question mark, question mark. Because if I told you to put together an anti-Semitic Jew costume, they'd have that exact shopping list. So then he punched you twice right there. First of all, he called you out for trying to insult his intelligence, Canadian style, with the really double question marks. And then he hits you with the anti-Semitic Jew costume. And then he hits you with that gut punch of shopping list based off that raggedy was that thrift shop song. He hits you with that boom, that shopping list. Then of course Macklemore wrote they say an apology. He wrote an apology and didn't apologize for anything. He just said it wasn't his intention, it was just a dress up and a surprise. I'm saddened by the story, yada, yada, yada. People in the media, the disguise was sensationalized, yada, yada, yada. That his costumes and, yada, yada, yada. And I acknowledge how the costume could, within a context of stereotyping, be ascribed to a Jewish caricature. Okay. Don't insult my intelligence. Macklemore, if you really about being this, I'm gonna shock people and I want to play dress up and I want to be a clown, you know what I mean? Be Lady Gaga. Just be Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga comes on stage. She dresses like a nun. She does weird stuff. Whether it's with Katy Perry, you do an exorcism or not Rihanna, but what's the other girl I can't stand? All these people, they come on stage, they do crazy stuff. Kanye West, he comes out with an album titled Yeezus. An album titled Yeezus. And at no point in time does Kanye West say, well, I'm not really talking about God. I could see how you could look like God because I switched up a couple words and added a little Z to it. But honestly, I didn't even think about God. It's not really my idea. I apologize if I offended anybody. Y'all really sensationalize it. No, that's not what you do. Own it, man. Be a man about it. Don't try to insult everybody. And that's what's really making the story blow up. Because honestly, I could care less what Macklemore dressed like. I don't go to Macklemore concerts. I don't buy Macklemore albums. I could care less what Macklemore does. But you can't insult everybody's intelligence and make them think that you picked out a random costume. It's like, dude, don't be such a dope about it, dude. Just own it. Just own it. The first Seth Rogen tweet, all it says is you tricked people thinking you're a rapper, now you tricking them becoming Jewish. You could have just left it right there. Hey, man, it was a costume trying to make a joke. Bump. But then you're going to hit somebody back and say, oh, well, it's not my intention, and blah, 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 blah. Come on. Stop the foolishness, dude. You are a sideshow freak. Period. As a rapper, I have zero respect for Macklemore. I think he has no skills. No skills as a rapper whatsoever. So you have to do stuff to make yourself stay relevant. He's not even in the spectrum of hip hop rap. He's not even, so you have to do stuff to make yourself be important, to get headlines, and he has turned into Rap Gallagher, dog. That's what he is. He's Rap Gallagher. So he put on this costume, even if let's hypothetically, it's not anti-Semitic. You grabbed a random costume. The fact that you're calling yourself a real rapper or this rap or whatever, and you have to resort to costume and samboing, it lets me know everything I need to know about you. You're not to be taken seriously. So if you're going to be a clown and dress like a clown, own it. Say, hey, I'm a clown. I'm Sideshow Bob. And no one will have anything to say to you. No one has beef with Lady Gaga because it's a clown. It's a clown, you know what I mean? And that's what they do. They put on costume and they do stuff and they entertain the people. No one hates Gallagher. It's a clown. And he lets you know, hey, I'm a clown. I'm going to smash him. And I'm not even trying to be real about it. So that's the main thing he did wrong, is that he tried to justify it by insulting everybody's intelligence. That gets people fired up because people don't like to be lied to. In Macklemore, you lied to a bunch of people, dog. You out here lying. The third problem with this thing, and the thing that I find to be interesting, is all these people, or not all these people, but the people that's caping up for Macklemore. I know he may be your boy, but if you out there caping up for Macklemore and trying to justify what he did and trying to make it seem like, oh, I seen somebody say, oh, people are just hating on Mac. They just want to bring Macklemore down. I mean, come on, dude. Step into the real. No one gives a damn about Macklemore. No one gives a hot damn about Macklemore. Macklemore is not a national story whatsoever. No one cares. And for you to try to justify something that he's lying to you about, you're a sucker, man. You're a mark. Like, honestly, you honestly believe it's random if you're sitting up there defending it? Like, dude, you're a sucker, man. Don't defend this clown. Just leave it alone. You know what I mean? I mean, that it is what it is, man. And sit up there and defend it. Just say, hey, I'm a fan of Macklemore. I roll with Macklemore. And, and whatever he do, he does. You know what I mean? But don't try to cape up and be like, oh, that's an honest apology. No, it's not. It's ridiculous. And for you to think, oh, someone just goes in and grabs a random costume and they dress up like that and it's all cool, it makes me think that if he'd have went into the closet and grabbed, a random wide nose and grabbed a random afro and painted his face black, you'd have been cool with that too. Maybe he could have put some red lipstick on. He'd be like, oh, it's just a random costume, Courtney. I don't understand the problem. So I question both of you all's judgment. Macklemore, yay, step up your game. Be the clown that you really are. Now, a lot of bad energy in the room. End on a good note. My Cleveland Cavaliers got the number 1 pick. Again, and again. Last night it was epic. They only had the Cavaliers only had and Cleveland Cavaliers is a basketball team, by the way. By the way, I'm done talking about Macklemore. So if y'all tuned in for that, I'm gonna end off with Cavaliers and basketball and stuff like that. So, thanks for listening to the show. Thanks for listening to the show. See you later. Cavaliers won the lottery again. It was one of the greatest nights, in a while. I think it was so improbable. The funny thing is everybody tanked for the number 1 pick. It was supposed to be this great, talented, and the Cavs actually tried to win. They actually tried to win last year, but they're almost they can't get out of their own way. Like, they can't help but have good fortune. So the Cavaliers have the number 1 pick again, and now I don't believe they can go wrong. I believe you either go Embiid or Wiggins. I mean, that's it. I would go Wiggins because Embiid has the back. But if Embiid ends up being good, you look bad. But you don't need to look bad. You need to look right. At this point, you took enough chances. You got Anthony Bennett. You got Tristan Thompson. You got, with Tristan Thompson, honestly, wasn't that big of a risk. The only thing I think they passed on, like, Klay Thompson that year, which everybody passed on. Dion Waiters, so you have enough guys you took a risk on. No more risk taking. Take Wiggins, and either put him at the 3 or, trade Waiters for a big guy, or, even Kyrie for a big guy, or maybe trade the number 1 pick for a big guy and keep Waiters. But they got a lot of options, and as a Cleveland sports fan right now, it's a great time. The funny thing is, this is like the greatest time for being a Cleveland sports fan since LeBron left, and we actually haven't played any games. That's sad. The Cleveland Indians are like 20-35, and this is the greatest time because the Browns have Johnny Football, Manziel, and the Cavaliers got the first pick, who we haven't even played a lick of NBA, but it's the great. We haven't played any game. As long as As long as Cleveland doesn't have to play games, we'll be the most competitive team. We have to play games. That's really the problem. We're great at hiring and firing coaches. We're good at the franchises changing ownership. We're good at all that. We got a problem with the games. Is it possible to take down the scoreboard? Can we get the game out of sports? Can we just play fantasy football? I bet we'd be kick at Cleveland be great at fantasy sports because we don't actually have to have the players on our team. We just swap them in and out, and we're good at firing people. We'd be good at that. But in all seriousness, I'll probably write something about the Cavaliers, but the number one pick is fantastic. And the bottom line is going into the offseason, the Cavaliers are, among the teams that didn't make the playoffs, they're in the best position. You know, that they still don't have a head coach, and that job is the best opening out of every opening in the NBA. And among the teams that didn't make the playoffs, they have the most talent. I mean, you got a player like Dion Waiters. And Dion Waiters is a very, very good player, a very good player. I believe he's going to be an all-star player at least a couple times in his career. He has that kind of potential. You got Kyrie Irving, who is an interesting guy. Last year was not a good year for him. But this offseason, he's going to go find out how good he really is. Got Tristan Thompson, who probably is going to get dealt because you can't afford to pay that guy the kind of money that's going for the position and productivity that he has without him being better on offense. The team just needs better stuff. He's just not a smart basketball player right now. Makes a lot of bad mistakes. And you got tons of cap space. Tons of cap space. The Cavaliers could sign a max player, re-sign Kyrie, and draft another number one player. And idealistically, that puts four guys on your team that could end up being max players in the league. What'd you say? Who's the fourth guy? LeBron James. Holla.